Welcome to a series that I plan on starting where I review your levels that you send me in. If you want a level to be full on reviewed, send a video in the comments below telling me to check the channel or the level. It can be rated or not. The plan is I'm going to play the level a couple of times and watch a video of the level and give my general view, rank it on a rating system based off -5 to 5, with 0 being I feel completely nothing from this level, 5 being the best it can be, and -5 being I hate the level. My plan is to be as brutally honest as I can, no matter what. And with that being said, I want to go into my review of Guinea by Tuds. I want to preface, I feel very positive about this level. Stylistically, this level works perfectly. There are beautiful amounts of desaturated background or desaturated effect, and the path where the player has to go is often utilized with bright saturation. Whoa, the colors in this are so unique. It looks great and fantastic. I think this level, it's very clear Tuds has put lots of passion into making this. The blocks move. Many of them are animated in very different creative ways, whether it is through instant cuts moving up, down, left, right, even if this is done with the saws near the end of the level or blocks near the start, or if this is even done with like just smooth moving when it needs to like move. The transitions are great. There are multiple parts where he uses shader effects. There's this one part where the foreground is used as a transition. There's parts where there are fake orbs, which all the transitions, none of them are blind, and they just look beautiful. Holy! Well, again, they use this bright saturation and then a desaturated background to kind of show where you're going. That repeated use of the start with the transitions of those exclamation marks that come up. Each time the chorus kind of hits, you go back to that same spot. You keep going back, and it ties the level together so that I feel like without these repeated parts, this level would fall apart stylistically. That repeat really helps stabilize this level and makes the theming so strong. It's very clear. It's not like he thought of a narrative, wrote it down, and wanted to tell a story with Guinea. It's very much he wanted to decorate something that felt like you're going through a world. And he does that. Just the way the structures move remind me of like Prime Blee. Like Blee before all the art slop came in. Like, I'm talking absolute garbage Blee. Like, look at the way these rotate. There are beautiful segments in this level, such as the one on the home screen which I'm looking at right now, with these animated helicopter bits, and there's another fluid part where all the blocks are kind of animated in the sea and they rotate. This song being a JPEG Mafia song, I'm obviously going to be biased because I love JPEG Mafia. But I just think it's a very cool level, a very strong song choice, and I think it's executed very well. This song choice could have taken Tuds down a very weird path when it comes to decorating, but I think his choice of decoration kind of was perfect. When it comes to decoration, many people might criticize this level for being quote-unquote underwhelming, quote-unquote simple. I think this level is simplicity done to an incredibly well degree. I wouldn't say the best degree I've ever seen. The way simplicity is used in this level is consistent and looks well, and it works great because it isn't copy and pasted block designs. They change, they're unique. Sometimes there are little foreground sparkles that warp, grow, shrink. Sometimes it's just the way the blocks look with gradients. Everything is kind of executed to a degree here, which looks great. My biggest gripe with this level is the gameplay. I think some of the gameplay in this level is pretty bad. Most of the time the gameplay is completely fine. You won't notice anything bad with it. It's pretty simple. I don't think this is a hard demon because most of the time there are 0 timings altogether. And while it is XL, and I get that, this should probably be moved down to medium demon because I don't think it's a hard demon. The gameplay is very buggy. On the animated ground, there's many parts where the cube will just not make a click for whatever reason. My biggest problem with this level is that most of the deaths don't feel like the players. There are a lot of like timings in this level which I don't think should be timings. On my scale of -5 to 5, I'm feeling a 3.5, which is very strong. I'm feeling very good about this level. This level could have been a 4.5 if it wasn't for the gameplay. The bugginess in the gameplay really brings down this level for me. it kind of stopped my enjoyment with it. That being said, the gameplay difficulty-wise is consistent. I don't think it's a hard demon, and I don't think it's Tuds' fault for rating it a hard demon. But yeah, the gameplay difficulty is consistent, but the bugs in this level really take it for me. Really take it down. That being said, it's a 3.5.
Tylko jedno w głowie mam, koksu 5 gram, odlecieć sam w krainę zapomnienia.
Ko is a really interesting level to me, and I do want to say I do like it. First thing I want to talk about mainly is the gameplay. I think the gameplay is incredibly interesting, especially in the first 70%. It has a very clear style to it. Timmy uses these buffer click over and over again, and while you think that might get really boring, just the way they're implemented in so many different unique ways just makes it feel so cool. I actively enjoyed playing that opening repetitive cube where you have to buffer before you hit the block, which I think is something that's kind of interesting and utilized really well. And then it's followed up by a bunch of orb clicks where instead of making them timings, you have to buffer because the saw is on the orb. And I see this done in a couple of levels. I just think the way that Timmy's like used it as a theme to make it really abrasive, this gameplay really abrasive, is just really unique. The speed changes in this level are pretty cool, especially earlier on. There are a lot of speed changes that are so subtle at first you don't even realize you're changing speed. It just feels like it's a part of the level, and I think when you can utilize speed changes to the point where the player isn't even really realizing it, that means the speed changes are actively adding to the atmosphere and are working well. The speed changes are great across this level. My biggest problem with the gameplay in this level is the last 20% is unreasonably hard and not fun to play, and it is some of his worst gameplay I've ever seen. And unfortunately, I think that is one of the big things that is stopping me from loving this level. The last 20% shit and then the cube afterwards is super inconsistent. When you're going into it, you're going through from a orb timing into the ship to then do multiple orb timings in the ship to then do a random 4 in a row orb timing ending. It is super difficult, it is super finicky and feels unfair. That being said, even like 70% onwards, there's a section where the gameplay timings are just like harder than the rest of the level. The thing is, I think this level would be an easy demon if it wasn't for that ending ship. That ending ship pushes toward hard and medium demon, and the rest of the level is around mid-range, early range, easy demon. It makes no sense why it's there. I don't understand what they were thinking. But like I said, the level is abrasive, the decoration is incredibly abrasive, so in a way I can't critique it too much because that ending adds to the abrasive theme and it still fits the general stylistic nature of the level. It makes sense a bit, it's just very unfun to play and I don't think it's rewarding. The decoration in this level is also really interesting. The first 30% is some of the most interesting decoration I've ever seen. They really hone in on this abrasiveness. The invert triggers normally I think are kind of corny, but here they just work really well because it's kind of clear they thought about the inversion when making the level. I think, in fact, the level decoration kind of falls apart when they start removing the inversion trigger. I think like past 40%, you can kind of see the level becomes a bit too cluttery for my liking and my taste. I think the style of this level kind of splits into two kind of parts. There's very much like a cluttered rainbow party feel, and then a very abrasive, like almost drunk industrial. Timmy kind of blends the two together and it creates a very weird level. And my thoughts on this level have been great to then terrible to then great to then terrible. I've had to adjust to this style of decoration because it is so interesting and unique. And while I don't think it's the best I've ever seen, and I think it could have been implemented better, it is definitely incredibly creative, and I think it is super cool to see. There was this one part where the background's flashing this weird Poland flag, and it's like turning round, and it's shrinking and growing, and it's just kind of cute. Like a lot of this level is just cute. I like one part, the name of the level is a structure, and you have to jump past it, but it isn't so in your face, it's obvious at the bottom of the screen, and that being like a detail that you noticed way later. A lot of this level is like, the more you replay, the more little details you notice. Like, you hit a block and it turns into the Poland flag. One thing I wish is that these kind of moments were stronger. I wish that
some of the level wasn't as saturated, so each time you saw the Poland flag, it was just more in your face, and that abrasiveness was kind of like shoved in there. And I think the style is definitely interesting. I just think they need to spend more time refining this. Again, this level is only 4,900 objects, or a bit more, which is a bit insane. I think this level is much more, in my opinion, like, I want to just decorate something and go ahead and try it, rather than spending ages on creating one big masterpiece. And I think it came off pretty well. I think it could have benefited from more movements. I feel like they could have experimented with that. And the rainbow kind of moments in the level I really didn't care for, and I think they kind of take away from the abrasive atmosphere. I'm thinking a 1.5 for this level. In general, it was a good level, but I think they could have done better. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Tuds and Timmy for sending in their levels. I hope they're fine with my reviews, even if I wasn't as positive as I could have been. I just wanted to say my honest thoughts on how I feel about them and where I think these levels could have improved. In general, both of these levels were pretty good, and they both escaped the 0 rating, or the negative rating, which you don't even want to know what happens when you're in there. If you want your level to be reviewed, just comment the ID or a video below, and hopefully I'll get to it next time. Tell me if you like these review series, because I don't know how to feel about them. That's about it.